Don't worry, little kid. You can't read yet, but you can look at the pictures. Welcome to comics. In action, this is Rivals Fight Night. Round 6. They just keep going! This clip's so long! Look at him! Locked down!
Me, every fight that I cast in Marvel Rivals. Literally me.
It's not ending! It's still going!
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. And that's in slow-mo, bro. So strap yourself in.
You are very good at your job, Uber. I don't realize it until I make a small attempt like that. Welcome in, everybody. This is the EU Finals. You have the 2023 Caster of the Year, Uber Shouts. You have the future 2025 Color Caster of the Year, Jake Overwatch. And, of course, your Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Chris Bucket here. Welcome, everybody.
Don't you just win that every year?
He throws that one in.
Yeah, we'll just sprinkle that over the top. We're watching the future EU Lifetime Achievement Award winners. They keep up this pace. Virtus.pro has been on our show, what, 5 times, ZP? Let us know in the Discord. They have won all of them. Jake, the last one, a small blemish. They dropped a single map on their way to holding up another $1,000 check.
Yeah, here's the history. Luminosity won one week when VP decided to, take a little break. Then VP came back and just snatched the crown out of their hands and slapped them away, like I want Emma Frost to slap me away.
Okay, got
With
that
force.
out there.
The choke slam.
It's all about honesty. This is a safe place, people. You're welcome here. Rivals Fight Night is going crazy online right now. Shout out to all of our new subs. We are approaching that sub goal. We've passed over 6,200 followers on the Twitch channel. If you haven't already, slam that button while we wait for these players to load up. If you missed the lore, though, let's catch you up, because Virtus.pro have been the dominant force in EU. Everyone is waiting for the global showdown to see, are they truly the best team in the world, or just on the continent? Finzi and Nevix, one of the best Vanguard duos you're going to see in the game. Nevix, the #1 player on the global leaderboard. Sparker, though, he's going to be the guy on your screen most of the time. Why? He has won MVP, probably 3 of those 4 tournaments. The man can play every single duelist. He is unbannable, and he is constantly a highlight reel. We don't talk nearly enough about the strategist on this team. Today, that's my goal, Jake. Let's give a shout out to the people that enable these duelists.
Saipe and Dredro, I think, is a great shout for a squad as well. The Vanguards, Finzi and Nevix. I mean, you don't achieve dominance like this for Virtus.pro by getting carried by duelists. It's just not possible. Like, no matter how good you are in duelists, you just can't have the stability without strategists who are super clean, no mistakes from this squad. We talked about the Namor Luna Snow combo. I think this is the reason, Dredro really is the reason why LG has been banning Luna Snow in the last series. This team just has so much aura. They are so sick on some of these combos. I think LG is kind of operating in a world where they have to be different or have to force Virtus.pro off of their comfort zone, because if you just give this team everything they want, I mean, so far they have been unbeatable no matter what you do, but maybe the theory is, okay, at least we can take away some of the strongest pieces. It's all just a theory. No one has proven anything is winnable against Virtus.pro.
Virtus.pro, the top dogs right now. They can play a number of different comps. The scariest, well, you tell us, chat. On the other side of this fight, yes, it is Luminosity. And Uber, I have a challenge from the chat. Can you break down this roster ASMR style?
Well, I think, after we saw that previous game, Naga, when he was able to switch over to the Namor, was just tapping away. You know what I mean? Pretty scary when those javelins come in faster than you can anticipate them. And honestly, those majestic whales as they sail through the air and then collide with you, it's what feels like light speed sometimes. Pretty effective at applying some crowd control and good damage. I'm a little concerned though that Crook is trying to go for the Mantis, perhaps when other strategists the better option. But outside of that, I mean, this team is really well rounded. I think the problem is that we're going to be looking at them and VP on a pound for pound comparison bucket, and that's it's just tough to give any of their players an edge, any individual at any role on this team.
Jake, we don't have Thanos in the game yet, so who's going to throw the bigger purple balls?
My money is on, I think Finzi and Nevix and the Vanguards are top 2 in the region. And I'm a little worried for Luminosity because I'm still skeptical about the Venom. You know, maybe it's going to be enough. They're going to ban the Invisible Woman again.
I have a challenge for you, Finzi. Is it really this fun to ban Groot 21 maps in a row? Maybe next week you guys just take a Groot week off. Maybe next map you allow him in to the lobby.
VP always a Wolverine ban team? Am I crazy?
Jake, I make up a lot of.
I feel like you just like, I don't know if they've ever banned Groot. Actually, I think this might be the first time they've ever
unlucky, honestly. Of any kind, any other time, I reckon you would have gotten away with it.
No other caster would call me out. This guy, I'm a pro player. I need to get things accurate.
Oh,
this guy.
That is funny. That is, I mean, so force physics is banned, so you can play the Venom. So Bucket did mention that, like, Luminosity had to try and, I think it was Jake maybe mentioned that Luminosity had to try and find a way to be different, because if you try and emulate what VP do, you lose, like I said, on a pound-to-pound basis. So I like that they're going to try and go for the Venom here. It's Hell's Heaven, which is an acceptable map to try and play that hero Bucket, but we're dealing with the best of the best in Europe. There is nobody that is the apex predator to Virtus.pro. They stand at the top of the food chain.
All right. I gotta walk it back, Puckett. You were right. Last week, VP started banning Groot. I didn't watch that match. I got a mea culpa. That's on me. But it was a big changeup. Historically, they had been a team that had banned a lot of Wolverine.
You can
that had just wanted to not deal with it. Exactly. Thank you, Daddy Puckett.
All right. Not Hell's Heaven loading up right now. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We have the record straight. Virtus.pro not afraid of the group. They just don't need it. Instead, the Thing on Nevix. Finzi running the Magneto. Fi, well, they banned his Hela. So what's he going to do? Take to the Star-Lord. It's about to be fun. Let's get into it, boys.
All right. Yeah, one of the two teams, of course, that's really going to try and show us the Thing as often as possible. A real nuisance in the front line, but crucially, just a crowd control dispenser. The knockups, the mass knockups you can cause with your charge, and then of course the stun once you land is really important. You've got great mobility, also a lot of burst damage as you're constantly charging haymakers in these front lines. It's very powerful, especially when your opponents don't have a way to go around the Thing and try to go through it.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how this Namor battle especially goes. See if Naga can find openings. Could be the hero for Luminosity. VP though have point control right now. So Luminosity have to do something. Now they're going to walk up with that Magneto, go with the soft dive on the Venom, but he looks to be forced out pretty quickly by that VP backline, who still look very tanky.
Now they respected, I think, the dive from Trust Me there. I'm going to take the Venom quite low, but Nevix is really difficult for Magneto to deal with in general. Okay, Fi, I think he's just trying to clear the rejuve domains there, but does of course get a bulwark to help him with that blaster barrage. Virtus.pro still in a fine position despite, having to give up the point briefly, and then Trust Me here just gets caught out in the open. I think he thought he was getting back to safety, but Fi had other plans for it.
Yeah, Fi is getting a lot done here on the Star-Lord. Uncountered, not worried about grabbing the team up. The more forced to use that bubble just to be able to get out to the high ground. Is going to slip around the corner, though, so nice slippy footwork from Naga. Nets in the kill on Sparker.
It's crazy why the Fi just doesn't get picked off doing any of this stuff, by the way, because in most of your ranked games, if you try this stuff for Star-Lord, you're probably just going to die. And a big part of that is that VP's backline are very switched on, very, very focused on making sure that Star-Lord can play with this level of aggression and not be punished for it. Oh, the freeze! Oh, Trust Me just recovers in time. Rejuve domain actually does end up getting used, but here's a Galactic Legend. Naga's the first target here, and they will go down. Meteor M claims them. Even with that healing in play from the Lunar Snow, you see Fire is just going to focus down the players who aren't standing in that area. And Trust Me does not want to be in the middle of the fight, even if it means getting healed by the Lunar Snow ultimate. So that basically renders the Venom useless.
Now Venom into the backline, forces the responsive support ults from VP. They've been hanging on to these all game long. They still have a second in the bag with that copied Loki form. Meteor M forced. VP, though, have the last lap with the second support ult. Naga does find one, but copied Luna Snow is going to outlast much longer for VP. Despite being down a player, I think they have a very good chance in this fight.
Yeah, so hard to clean Nevix. Getting close to a clobbering time there as well. Saipe making sure that Freedraw and Co. don't have to worry about this pressure coming in from the sides. Naga, of course, has been very, very good at Namor, and his monster spawns are always an issue. It's always really annoying for the Thing to deal with, especially, but VP's backline, incredible. Everyone topped up there. They get through a bit of a rockier phase, and Fire is now back into the fight and already poised to flank again. Trying to combo there. Like it. Trust Me, though, is there with a charge to sort of slow him up. And if you get stunned by that Star-Lord, you're insta-dead.
Destroyed has that Kraken impact, see if he can get something done with it, but it's an uncontested ulti potentially available for Star-Lord. You got to be very careful. Now the Legendary comes out over the top, shields keeping Destroyed alive for the moment.
Okay, another charge here. Fire does get stunned up ever so briefly. Oh, that was close. Not quite enough, though. Damage on Luminosity. It doesn't matter. The VP are at 99%. LG do have to dive in and wager something in order to try and stay in the game, at least in this round. It's Destroyed. Nothing we need to look at here, of course, is Dreedro's able to have a fate of both worlds, but Finzi did get burst down despite, theoretically, that healing coming in. Destroyed, though, is gone. There's that Horn of Proteus thrown into the backline. The 3 players, I think, on LG side were stunned up by that one, leaving Trust Me pretty solo here on the point, having to try and fight for their lives to stay in this. But Rajaru's been massive. Another pick off, this time on Fire. He's going to take the Star-Lord out of the game, but Ice starts for Dreedro. Gets rid of Fate. Beautifully done, Naga. Dealt with Meteor M for 2. Rajaru's able to charge it up massively. Was able to get onto Sparker and Cypher respectively, but where are the duelists around this comp for Luminosity? They have their Vanguards in play, and here comes a portal now by Finzi into the fray.
Yeah, it's keeping them in the fight now. Legendary over the top from Fi could be the final nail in the coffin. Luminosity struggling to get the recap, struggling to just keep these Vanguards alive, but it's too little, too late. Damage over the top now. Strange struggling to shield Fi, going in with the Blaster Barrage, but it's not even necessary. 100-0 for VP. There's a reason they're the champs.
Oh, man. It is crazy. This is the one team that purportedly could step up and challenge them. And even they look kind of impotent in that round. They never get control of the point. Luminosity are virtually playing from the fringes of this map for the entire round. And although like the round, okay, towards the end, it dragged on a bit. It elongated somewhat. I mean, Destroyed's not able to find anything. The front line here, I thought Rajaru was great, finding some really important picks here, but was the only bright spot, I think, to lean on. As good as Naga's Nemor has been, Virtus.pro always seem to have an answer.
Yeah, the focus fire from the whole of VP, when the Clobber in time came out from Nevix, the enemy team was under a Luna Snow ultimate, and they're just getting hard focus fire headshot and bursted through. That's not like a raw damage combo or one-hit combo. That's just team shot calling, everybody shooting the same target, everybody headshotting all at once. You can out DPS those support ultimates. We just almost never see it due to the execution difficulty of that play.
Crazy stuff, though, to see it from VP with such regularity. So here we go again. So we both teams on the thing. It's just really annoying to deal with in the front line. If you have this fairly static setup that doesn't have a lot of crowd control, doesn't have the burst damage to deal with the thing, you find yourself losing out or being ignored by him pretty quickly. So climbing time is ready. Couple haymakers already being charged up there. Blaster barrage over the top with, of course, that extra bulwark durability means that Luminosity start to lose out in these damage trades pretty badly. You note that Trust Me, Rajaru, Naga all quite low. Now they're going to deal with the fate of both worlds. Nevix and Finzi did get stunned up by that, which is fine, but Dreedro has the antidote. The healing comes in, and Virtus.pro are chilling, basking amidst it, in fact. Crook here has duped a Lunar ultimate as well, and Horde of Proteus does knock Finzi to the ground, but Destroyed gets picked up by a Monstro spawn, and VP are healed up in the nick of time. Now Fire, of course, with his Legendary, will be able to force LG away.
So sick, the Regen Domain from Saipe. There are multiple players who are at risk of being executed, but of course Loki is ready, had saved that skill so deep into the fight. Luminosity holding on for the moment, but yeah, it just seems like a matter of time here. Virtus.pro have all the angles, full control, are gonna get the cap, and thinking about going in for more here is a pretty risky move for Fa. Yeah, he doesn't even try to shoot, very aware of the overextension possibility there, and it seems like VP are content to just take this forward spam pressure, put as much on as they can. Luminosity on the retake. They've got another Clobber in time. They've got a Meteor M coming up very soon. The VP are so stable. It's hard to imagine the way they're going to get through this. They need to hit some big lockdowns.
And I think Finzi wants the front line of LG to overcommit to getting point control so we can just meteor the back line. Naga, there was hoping to find an off angle, but Sparker just doesn't miss those. Deadly accurate. Here's Meteor coming from LG. Oh, that's speculative at best. Rajaru hoping to catch out a Lunar Snow in mid-air. Unfortunately, just sends that ultimate away. I get the idea. Dreedro did, of course, have fate of both worlds there, so you can understand the reasoning, but unfortunately, it looks a little silly in the end. And Virtus.pro can now push back 44% and counting, and they're sitting on both their Vanguard legendaries.
Naga has struggled, Clobber in time now, and does the defensive regenerative domain is enough to keep them alive for the moment, but these Vanguards are getting punished, trust me, so incredibly low. Sparker on this off angle is just devastating them on the point. Once again, Virtus.pro charging forward to a potential full cap victory on map 1.
Yeah, looking very, very clean, and this is what you expect from your current champions. The only time Luminosity able to take the money here in our fight night was when Virtus.pro were not present, and they've reestablished themselves very quickly since returning from that org-mandated break. That's fine. So can I take a holiday every now and then? Even if it's from the Groot ban. We still ended up seeing from VP. Want to push up now. Rajaro, again, is questioning if there's a way in because, Jake, as soon as they hit this choke, Fire's going to wrap on them.
They've got that ultimate combo, though. Demore, Luna Snow, Naga. This would be a key moment to find a connection with that damage-amped whale. He blew up in the last series with that combo quite a few times. Vi got pushed away by Magneto, kind of struggling to get in with the legendary, but now over the top is going to force that strategist ultimate.
There's nobody that's outside of this fate of both worlds, though. So Fire would just commit the rest of that ultimate from a pretty safe distance. Sparker with the gift here. Horde of Proteus comes in. Okay, it is actually able to stun him up. However, there's Finzi. It's destroyed. Changing the first letter of the name to a D. Apparently, the damage boost being mixed in here by Dreedro every now and then. Saipe also has another Luminosity ultimate. We are just going to stagger them here. We're going to back-to-back them, so VP have no window that Luminosity can take advantage of. Here's the clobber in time. Fate gets caught out. It's a scary situation, and there's nothing the Luminosity could do to protect herself. Clearly turned up to the wrong weight class as Finzi mag cannons her into oblivion, and Fire's Blaster Blarage claims 2. That should be more than enough in Virtus.pro. Business as usual, and folks, business for this team is always good.
Business is booming, Mitch, and that's a 1-0 lead against Luminosity, who you got to remember are mentally taxed, right? They had to pull off the reverse sweep. They had their backs against the wall for 3 maps in a row in that last series against a team that they probably thought they were going to beat easily. It's a tough spot to be going up against the best in Europe, arguably the best in the world. VP, I mean, at least in terms of each individual region, VP is so much further ahead of the second best team. That's what makes them look so much like the best in the world. It's too hard to say like whether, region versus region, who's stronger, but man, VP makes such a compelling case. You just watch them play. The eye test is so insane. 23k damage that game. Strategist 1 death between the 2 of them. Yeah. Saipe and Dreedro, masterclass.
For me, that's the standout, right? When you mirror the thing, you basically are accepting that you have no backline pressure on your opponents, like none. You cannot run down their strategists at all. You're trying to just like overwhelm and have like good CC, but then you get picked apart by the enemy flanker. I don't think that LG want to be mirroring VP's comp at all. I would honestly rather have seen the Venom, as weird as that is, put some backline pressure on, force an error somewhere out of this Virtus.pro team, because if you don't put some pressure on, they won't make a mistake. They just don't.
I was just looking at the numbers. 66,000 heals were pumped in over those 2 rounds. It wasn't enough for Luminosity. So who needs to step up the damage? Because we got to finish some of these eliminations. These team fights are going too long, Jake.
Yeah, maybe it's so hard. I mean, it's beyond one player, right? You just got 200 zeroed on domination. It's like,
sorry, what duo, what role? Or is it a combo of like you need a little bit of everybody?
I mean, it's definitely duelists. I mean, Destroyed got no final hits. They don't have the group combo to match, I think, with the Winter Soldier. So why are you playing Winter Soldier? Like, is there like maybe a better option for you there? Can you match the Star-Lord? And this is a Star-Lord without Adam Warlock, by the way, that we're seeing from Big. They do not care. Fire is that good and that well backed up by the Magneto to constantly get those bubbles that it doesn't matter if he can't come back to life because he just doesn't die.
Jake, hear me out. Luminosity just sucks at domination. They just suck at Dom. They're good at the other game modes. The other maps, no problem. This is just not their strength.
Considering you're down 1-0.
Whole of Jalia. Whole of Jalia, they were pretty awful on as well in that previous game. Yeah. So that's Convergence map. So,
and they picked top Jalia too. So, I mean, I see why. Maybe you go to Yggdrasil here. I mean, I will say, honestly, it's interesting. Like, both teams were so aware of the threat of the Namor whale combo that they were both like constantly blocking it, regenerative domains, and that's something that like for the strategist it goes a little bit unnoticed. You're just like, oh, the boat or the whale didn't connect. We didn't find that nuke value. Usually, I think that is off the back of the Loki play, which I gotta say, level 1 Crook. I think level 1 Crook also went deathless on the Loki. Also, was that elusive backliner too hard to kill. Fate, though, I believe got caught 4 times in that last round. So, I don't want to just put all the blame on him. I think it is across the board. Like when you lose team fights and you get wiped, okay, a lot of times you are going to go down on Luna Snow when you're playing in the front line and trying to like put those heals out on everybody. Maybe you got some kind of better answer for Fi, like maybe banning the Hela. I mean, then again, Hela's just going to.
Yeah, I was going to say, his Hela's even dirtier than his Star-Lord. Yeah. And if he's not running the Star-Lord, then you're opening it up for Sparker, who did enough damage on the
What's the
Namor
hope
to never take
case
him
here?
off.
I gotta dig
Sparker
deep in
is
my
in our
bag.
chat right now, though. Sparker, how about you stop typing and start joining up? Let's get these games rolling. Midtown is map number 2. We've got our Bans and Protects rolling up, and Saipe is in our chat as well. We've basically Virtus.
These
Pro
guys
in your
love
chat
coming to
room.
the chat. They love
Welcome
coming to
in,
the
guys.
chat.
The champs are hanging out mid-series, Uber. That's the amount of confidence. I don't feel like we've seen this in a long time across multiple esports.
I want to see him typing during the game. That's when you know it's real. That's when you know the domination is just raw. You know what I mean? I want to see. I want to see like
tab to type into Twitch
I want to
chat.
see manually
that's
written
rude.
out. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog while they're busy throttling LG.
Play Type Racer on the second monitor while you're winning. You know, that's all possible here. The Thing
All right.
ban. Okay, I like the Thing ban actually from Luminosity. I agree with
Slow
you.
down
Like the
Nevix.
execution is too good from VP. Attacking some of the Vanguard picks could stabilize the game for you a little bit. And the Thing is also pretty sick against Venom. Like being able to stun him pretty hard or lock him down with some of his movement skills really kills the Venom game plan. So this does maybe open things up for Luminosity to put the Vanguard game a little bit more in their wheelhouse, especially because Groot is another good hero against Venom. So 2 of the better Vanguards matching up into Venom are now out of the pool. Conceptually, I like this. I'm sort of curious to see what direction VP take us.
So VP just made sure that Dro is getting his Luna Snow. He earned MVP in game for it in game number 1. On the other side, your final ban, it's going to be on the Helligan. So trying to slow down 5 because as they've learned in the past, you cannot ban Sparker. They tried it 2 weeks ago, Jake, and it did not go their way.
Sparker's just a monster. His aim is so good. It's like I can't really tell which hero is his best because he just wins with everything. So I think banning him is probably, or trying to ban him is probably a mistake. Probably not something that's going to work out too well. And LG, I mean, I would normally think like something like a Wolverine is a way you could throw a huge change up into the game, but I'm not sure that LG is really a Wolverine team. Like they played it sometimes, but I don't think it's, you know, their bread and butter, something they're super comfortable with. And I don't think you should really be bringing out the Wolverine unless it is that for you. Very well practiced, very clean and tight.
Yo, chat, do me a favor. Keep your international chat to yourself, okay? We're working on it. It's going to take us a while, but we're working on it. We want it to be cooler than a normal match. For now, let's turn our attention to the EU battle number 1 versus number 2. It's Virtus.pro Luminosity, game 2.
I mean, this is definitely the time in every esports life cycle that we start thinking about who's better, NA or EU. It's inevitable. It comes for us all at one stage or another. I've seen 16 different permutations of that exact story play out, and they're all fucking brilliant. So bring it on. Okay, jumping to this map, of course, Luminosity now, they have access. They've given themselves access, rather, to this Venom dive. Can they make it work now? They've got rid of the Thing. They don't have to deal with Groot. They still have to deal with the Namor Luna Snow combo, Jake, and that obviously is a bit concerning for anything that's, you know, involving Venom.
Destroyed is going to go over to the Wolverine, but the Invisible Woman is out for Saipe, didn't get banned, right? And choosing to deal with ban the Groot. Now someone else on VP has brought the threat to you. And the Invisible Woman, we've seen the playmaking, high skill potential. Somebody like Saipe should be piloting this very well.
Oh man, the CC that just got leveraged there at Rajaro, or rather Finzi, excuse me. Lucky he was able to get out there. We have VP chomping at the bit. Destroyed now, of course. There will be a Wolverine that slips through. VP typically do not like to deal with it. They do like to ban it when they can. However, Destroyed is now using his mobility in order to just not die instantly to fire out in the open. He's able to tear some strips off Nevix there, but it's probably the wrong target as we actually have the Venom look here for VP. Trying to force him away, trying to dissuade these dives, and Destroyed is just going to be avoided.
Bye. Happy to take this duel on the flank. No second life there. Force Destroyed is in trouble, but Naga finding a couple picks here. Being the difference maker on that Namor. Now the Namor from the other side of the field, Sparker is getting attacked, but the support is insane. I mean, look at the strategist for VP.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all backline.
And that's why Fire was able to do such egregious things in the previous game. These healers are too good. They're too good at the game. You have to target them. That's why I'm glad we have a Venom, right? Do something to put pressure on Virtus.pro's backline. Unfortunately, VP can do the same to you and send Nevix on a collision course with your squishy underbelly. Brutal.
God. They're getting cut to pieces. It's going to be just a little bit of stall out, a little bit of delay. And that, in the end, that only costs you the legendary from Star-Lord. Rajaro's going to have Meteor M in the next fight.
He's in the chat. Why are you typing? Okay, I did ask for that.
Wait, who's in the chat? Who's in the chat?
Finzy's typing in the chat.
These guys.
Are you not entertained? The Icelandic wonder.
Oh, he's dead. He's dead, Mitch.
Oh, man. That's classic. Honestly, like, it's so funny because, like, normally, you know, coaches will tell you off for this stuff, but I'm quite glad that people are letting him get away with this. I mean, they're styling, you know, I mean, they're absolutely styling. Here comes the Horde of Proteus. Trust me, a little bit low after that one, but Crook, of course, has the Duke ultimate, and that's going to be enough to at least let them weather the storm. But after that, Fate needs a couple of seconds to build that Fate of both worlds up, and that's the window that at least LG have been able to make use of in terms of dealing with fire. That's one of the flankers out of the picture. The Wolverine's pretty scary, though. So Stroid's going to pop ult and have, of course, that extra shielding. Virtus.pro here starting to run out of gas on this push.
And they're able to focus down the Invisible Woman, which deals with the ultimate. So VP, a little bit of overconfidence, gets punished. Now Luminosity in a decent spot. They've got the Luna Snow ultimate to sustain them a little bit into that next fight. They also have Meteor M from Rajaro, who's able to hold on to that. VP, no obvious combo here. I definitely want to see how Nevix takes this opening dive on the Venom, creating space in the background with the help of Fi.
Trust me.
Oh my, the focus fire. Oh, the focus fire.
He actually gets away. I mean, that is quite crazy what you can do with Venom, but it's Destroyed that actually was hoping, I think, to follow up on the dive from Venom, but Venom has to get out. It's too low. And Rajaro opted to throw that directly, I think, at the rejuve domain, maybe hoping for timing to be on his side there, but it was not the case. Still, we have Luna Snow ultimate. We're going to go forward with that one, but we have a Meteor M in play now. That was actually used, or got caught by Naga in midair. It's unclear, but he was inside his gift shield. Sparker has fallen, but VP have the numbers now. Nevix kidnapped. Should be able to swing back to the safety of the rest of his team, and there is a portal in play. Fi has popped a portal up, so Virtus.pro can get the pressure on. Well, Rajaro has one. Additionally, both teams here now in these dying seconds going after the Doctor Strange tech, and here comes Rajaro. Pops out of nowhere. The monster spawns are slapping each other in the background. Rajaro definitely needs to fear what Virtus.pro have in reserve, because Saipe can still deploy this Fate of both worlds. We got a little bit of dark magic being thrown out there.
The fact that Dredro still has the other Stratus ultimate in the bank is probably going to stay with us, but hold on, he got stunned, just barely gets his ultimate off in time. Luminosity really putting the pressure on in this map. Naga has been doing fantastic on the Namor. Now, seems like the lack of ults, lack of potential here for Luminosity is going to create that first cap opportunity for VP, but it's been difficult, maybe more difficult than many of the games we've seen so far today. Even a safety whale being dropped by Sparker, he does not want to get full held on Midtown.
Yeah, you just can't take that risk, right? Especially, you know, when Doctor Strange is in the mix. Of course, Fire does not have a portal available to him, but there's always a risk of having to deal with that. I think getting the more Monstro spawns set up there in that last phase of the map for VP helped. They had enough time to sort of get their infrastructure ready, and they apparently are sticking to this triple Vanguard for now with Eye of Agamotto at the ready for fight.
Eye of Agamotto could be powerful. No Invisible Woman for Luminosity, so they don't have an easy way of pushing that Strange away. It's something you really have to worry about this team, especially playing a Wolverine strat, who, you know, Wolverine, Venom, they want to get in, they want to fight at close range. Well, that's where you're vulnerable to that Doctor Strange, and even Magneto could be in trouble. Rajaro has to really meet out those defensive cooldowns carefully.
Trust me goes low, didn't quite have Feast of the Abyss available, so couldn't fully commit on that dive at all. Well, Sparker just wants to keep chunking him down. Pocket Mental, we see him on our screen a lot, and he was not wrong. Here comes that Fisto from Trust Me. Already, that shielding's been chunked through. Now he has to use the secondary cooldown. That's about to expire, and then it's time to get out. Not enough done by Trust Me there within that window of diving, and it's up to VP now to return serve. Speaking of which, Meteor M comes straight through. Wasn't quite the ace I think that VP were hoping for, but Finzi is still going to have backup for the rest of the team as they come forward, and Nevix had that Feast of the Abyss to work with. Nice orb, though, there from Rajaro. Saipe is blown to smithereens, goes the way of the dinosaurs. And now we've got the Wolverine, who's a bit of a nuisance here in the middle of this fight. Dredro has at least plenty of healing ultimate, and that's exactly who you want. Try and pull Sparker out of formation. Crook falls, though, as Sparker responds with a Horde of Proteus that gives VP the player advantage.
Yeah, and despite what looked like a good start of the fight there, VP just commit and clutch. Even in an awkward comp, even with Fi on the Doctor Strange, they're not worried about it. Luminosity, they do have the means to make the hold, but it's two duelist ultimates. It's not the most consistent or stable thing. VP, with the forward spam pressure, could be finding early kills. It's a difficult walk-up for Luminosity. They don't have an obvious tool to get them into this fight.
And we are just mere meters away from the next checkpoint here. Looks like Virtus.pro are threatening to get through. Fi shields up, healed up fully, and ready to go yet again. These Vanguard ultimates are getting built pretty quickly. Rajaro just had nowhere to go, completely caught out there as he could only throw himself at the cart to keep the game going. Sparker's going to be able to dodge that Horde of Proteus now, but Fire not nearly as lucky. Taken down out of the game here. Sparker building up another Horde of Proteus of his own, and that was the Lord of the Seas that did connect to put some pressure down. Big damage getting thrown in Stroid's direction. He has to get out of the fight, but Nevix does go down. Spark is holding onto a whale here. He sees Crook, though, come forward now with that Fate of both worlds, and Rajaro is making use of the portal to get back into the fight. Good pick on Sparker, but the healing's just far too good, but here's the damage finally coming through. Fate deals with Dridro. Rajaro had a nice maelstrom of madness there, and in overtime, it looks like Virtus.pro were liable to be stopped in their tracks.
I think Fi staying on the Doctor Strange a bit too long. Some of the fights worked out for them, but in the end, LG make the hold at the end of second point. It's a pretty solid defense on Midtown altogether. And despite some strong fights for VP, Luminosity hold on, they scrap back, and they make a couple long holds at the end of each checkpoint, getting the defense done.
You've got to feel good about that, especially given that Midtown is like a long-ish map, but getting it completed is not out of the question, especially for a team like Virtus.pro. So being able to do that, deny them the full 3 checkpoints, it's got to make you feel pretty good. Now, we won't quite know what the impact of the Wolverine has been until we get to, look at what those final hits are and how the scoreboard sort of plays out. But against Virtus.pro's attempt at a triple Vanguard look, Destroyed looked like he was able to get a number of edges.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be playing Wolverine against a team with the mechanics as good as VP. They're insane at turning and burning if you go for a play and you get overextended even a little bit. So it's real credit to Destroy that he's able to have even a decent game, even put out some solid damage. But I think Naga is kind of the hero in a lot of these fights. I mean, Fi got shut down a couple times flanking, trying to hit the backline with that Star-Lord, just with great shots out of Naga, great positioning of those Monstro spawns. Naga, I mean, has been a hero for this squad. He was in the last series and here again on Midtown.
Have a look at this. We got a chance to only see 2 final hits there for Destroyed, but unsurprisingly, the Nemours have taken over the game.
It's crazy. Parker just has 61% accuracy. I just saw. What the hell? That's actually
20k damage.
That's actually illegal. 61. That's like one of the highest I've ever seen.
And that's not a full map either, right? Like they did not get a time extension to make it like the longest possible round. That to me is what is even scarier about that. We only got 2/3 of the map in terms of time.
Yeah, and still dropping 20k is kind of some wild stuff.
Nevix is struggling here. You can see how the monster spawns make it a little bit hard to properly chase down Nemours. Nevix is going to lose that shielding soon. It's a little dumb. Shay Bunny. Oh, Naga would be molding about that. A little bit of health. Back to business here, as at least that's a good defensive pick, but also, trust me, has dealt with Spark at Virtus.pro crumbling a little bit here. After Nevix went so deep to try and get rid of that kill, Destroyed and Co have been causing problems for the rest of the team.
I mean, space created there, right? Like, you go down on Naga, but you took 2 players. They fell way out of position. The rest of your team won the fight. You're feeling really good about that trade if you're Naga. Even though you did go down, you did your job.
And here's the push from LG. They really don't want to give an inch now. And I respect it. Saipet going a little bit low there. Monster spawns need to be cleared. Rajaro as well, trying to get a mag cannon in to disrupt and displace Virtus.pro over the top. Blaster Barrel is being used. Fire might have to think about going for the legendary here, and he does, but who does he go for? Luminosity ultimates. Kind of complicated the math a little bit, but there's an opportunity there to go after the Nemours, and the Horn of Proteus gives you the extra damage to get over the line. Now, though, another low-key copy. That means that back into the fight now, Crook has some extra healing, but it's not enough to save Fate, and that's a gut punch for Luminosity. They burn through big Predator's ultimates and can't get past VP.
Saipe holds on to the Loki ult critically, so they are going to have a copy on Luna Snow for the next fight if they need it. Luminosity, they have some powerful damage ultimates, but without the strategist ultimates, it's so difficult to actually deploy them to get a decent start to the fight without just getting cut down. VP in a great position to potentially make the whole 2 minutes on the clock. Luminosity, they had a nice defense, but job is not done.
Still though, some big duelist ultimates available here for Luminosity. Meteor M though, to preempt this. Thrown into the background and staved off there by that rejuve domain. Naga got caught out of mid-air though, just as he emerged from the cocoon. And that has to be calling it quits now for LG, because it looks like Naga went from a Horde of Proteus that Saipe was easily able to stave off.
Yeah, no damage amp, no chance to burst through anything there. VP low on some ultimate. Sparker would love to find an opening pick here, spamming super aggressive on the walk up, making it awkward. But that Wolverine ult is a big issue, right? You don't have a real answer to that. Definitely a lot of playmaking potential with Luminosity strategists, very much closing in on their ultimates as well.
And that last stand, the displacement potential is really scary. Great charge for Rajaro and the Meteor M, but no way to connect it. And it's a monster spawn that brings Fi down out in mid-air, and there'll be no Cocoon revival, no returning to the fray here without a team up available. A lot of pressure going down on Finzy's direction. Eventually, you have to imagine they'll crumble. Sparker might just hold on to the whale here, as it's not a great use case for it, especially with the Magneto right in front of him. His monster spawner doing some serious work though, and Dredro does at least have a big heal, but it's still 3 players here for VP. So once that ultimate expires, yeah, Sparker desperately trying to hang on. Only some stall. That's all VP could concoct, and so Luminosity will be into the second phase of the map. And as far as we're concerned, folks, the last one here on Midtown.
Yeah, 3 minutes on the clock. A lot of opportunity for Luminosity. A catch on Defy. Should be an easy pick off there. Rajaro gets the cleanup done. And now VP in a spot that they rarely find themselves, backs against the wall on Midtown, on the verge of evening up this series 1-1 on Luminosity. They've got the ultimates to do it too. Virtus.pro kind of need a hero moment here.
Sparker's trying to at least check the flank routes here for Trust Me. They don't seem to care about them anymore, which could prove to be their undoing, but Trust Me's happy. He's forced out the rejuve domain. Long cooldown, can double back to the rest of his team, and now Sparker feels like he needs to go and try and create an opening, an opportunity. Dredro, though, is fallen. Not good. Sparker can only look on as Luminosity making short work of Virtus.pro. Again, VP only really have struggled against this team on when Wolverine is available, and Destroyed, even though he's not exactly been the headliner in this game, has definitely caused headaches. Nicely done. We've got ourselves a proper series here.
Luminosity, they came to play today. This change up banning the thing, I wonder if VP need to take a different approach. Maybe that group first ban needs to be something like a Wolverine. Even the Namor, I mean, I don't know, banning the Namor is kind of crazy with how good Sparker is on it too. I feel like Sparker and Naga are really Clash of the Titans right now when it comes to individual plays, the value they're able to get. But Trust Me looks so comfortable on the Venom. I think forcing this Vanguard lineup, this is like the first time I've seen a team look more comfortable on their Vanguards over VP. That's really impressive to me right now from Luminosity.
Look at this. Stunning games. I mean, again, you can see how Namor really tends to dominate. But I like what we saw for the Venom play. Trust Me seems to be happy enough, looking to try and get those big cooldowns drawn out and then return until at least there's a better opportunity to come in. Big Wolverine damage. I think we'd like to see that here, but in general, great showing from Luminosity, showing that there are game states that they can, use to their advantage. And have a look at that ban and protect, right? They take the thing out, they keep the Venom in, they know that they need to go forward. And we've often talked about how hard it is to dive like a Namor Luna Snow setup, right? Maybe it's undivable. Not the case here. You just have to go about it a bit more long term, I think, and try and play the long game, I should say, with this Venom.
Yeah, Trust Me has 10k more damage blocked, which is pretty impressive to me. I mean, getting a lot more value out of the cooldown cycle, able to stay in the fights for a lot longer. I think this does merit a change in strategy from VP on the ban front. And even to do that, even to force VP to go deeper into their strat book is an achievement here for Luminosity. With a 1-1 scary scoreline, this is kind of anybody's game today, and I didn't think I'd be saying that going into the match.
I'm starting to think their best look is with Crook on the Loki and the Venom on Trust Me. Wow. Luminosity starting to find their way, at least stopping Virtus.pro on the attack. That's not something we've seen on Midtown in the past. VP, well, they get to pick a map. And I asked our producer, can we take a look at the history of Virtus.pro? Because chat's saying, they've never dropped a map. It's never happened. Last week, 3-1. Suck it, chat. 1-1 again today. We're at least getting another game, number 4 in our best of 5. Virtus.pro has been the top dog. Will LG be able to continue to challenge? We have a favor to ask for the players. If you can, just keep running the games. A few of us got to get out of here on the production side. We want to keep them for the whole show because we love Uber.
Oh, yeah, that's me. No, I mean, my nanny finishes up in 35 minutes, so that's the way it goes. Otherwise, I'm dragging DP in here to run back the old Jake duo, mate. That's just that way. Like I said, I'm glad we get close games, but I didn't really plan for it, I'll be honest, because we've never really had them in EU. This is a bit of a novelty for us, so bittersweet, I'd say. Hopefully, I'm around to see the conclusion of this series, but if you're an LG fan, you're probably not hoping for that yourself. Some great moments here, I think, over the last, couple of minutes here on Midtown, and Destroyed kind of getting it done only with 2 final hits, but it's the displacement, it's the disruption, it's how it adds to the damage tally. I think that really helps Luminosity get across the line, and we know Naga's the one to rely on. We looked at him in the previous game, gave him an MVP, just really could not do it, I think, at this point. And this is the kind of game you really want to have your star player step up in.
Sparker on attack, real quick, Jake, can we just acknowledge the 20k on attack was ridiculous. I think
his
that
damage
may be
set
the
is
best individual duelist round we've seen.
Yeah, his damage set is completely out of control, out of this world, very, very consistently on the Namor. I mean, he's such a monster on it. But I feel like the team play in this particular game was what won it for Luminosity. Especially I look at Rajaro on the Magneto was fantastic. Here we see that damage amped Luna combo, so critical to be able to win and catch those team fights. And man, Naga is just oppressive on the flank there.
1-1 after 2 games. Virtus.pro is able to select map number 3. We at least are guaranteed for Virtus.pro. Dominant so far in all of our rivals' Fight Night history. They only didn't win 1 week. Why? Well, the whole org took a week off. Finzi was watching from an airplane. Couldn't get enough of the rivals' Fight Night. Here he is talking in the chat for the L Uber. Do we continue to give them challenges, the nerfs, to keep this match even?
I mean, again, it feels like, yeah, we're trying to apply some training weights to them. It's just really unfortunate because, like, Finzi did volunteer to type in the chat, and I believe that he would.
He's a man of his word. He did it.
It's unfortunate that it happens on the map that I lose. I don't know if we'll get that again, sadly, but, you know, I'll enjoy it, or at least the memories of it while I can.
I mean, this is a Luminosity team that has earned the respect, I think, for Virtus.pro to give them their full force, their full fury. Question is, can you survive that onslaught from the Bears of Virtus.pro? Like, can they take it? Now, going to a VP map pick and really. A team that, like, they're having some fun, but once you take a map from a team like this, it gets real. This is where it gets real for Luminosity. They've taken a map before. They lost 3-1. Yeah, you want a map, but, like, what does that mean? Now we're going to the map that really counts. If Luminosity can get the advantage in the series, can go up to a 2-1 position, that's when I'm really going to start to believe this next map is the bellwether. This is where we get to see the true form of VP.
This is the 2-0 domination incoming. You just wait. Virtus.pro about to call it out.
Pocket, what word did you just allow in chat? What is that word?
I've got a lot of words in chat. What was this most recent one?
I don't know if I want to say because it's going to make people write it. That's crazy. This really is by the people, for the people. You know what I mean? Listen, if you guys guess the word without being banned, you'll be allowed to put it in chat too. But just be careful, all right? There is some risk involved in this. Are you gambling, folks? Try your luck.
Don't gamble the wrong way. There's no other Fight Night content to watch tonight. All right, I called for the domination. We're going to T'Challa. Are you ready, Jake?
Oh, I'm ready. I am curious to see if we see a different ban approach. I do think Wolverine is not so good on this map. Maybe you keep banning the Groot.
They're going to ban Loki.
I mean,
obviously, VP like gets rid of Loki.
Actually, Loki, I don't mind the Loki.
Yeah, I think like you obviously, I don't know. It seems like VP are really happy to put Saipe on the Loki if they can do it right. I think that they want to be the team that has 2 Lunar Snow ultimates to work with because they probably have 2 strategist players who can really get a lot of value out of it. And I do think that. The freeze for Luna, really important if you're trying to shut down, trust me, right? Those dives, you can see how quickly people can get burst down and still, trust me, surviving, right? They dive in, they get frozen, they get burst, they still live, they still get out. It's so hard to take that Venom down. So that's an option. Don't know if Venom can work here, but there are some parts when you walk up to, the point that is shown on the cover art of Birnin T'Challa, I forget the name of it. It's really hard to like get tons of value out of Venom because you have a low roof for most of the approach until you get to the point that opens up. So it can be uncomfortable. I know, trust me. You think I've tried it. It's hard.
Ban and protects, right? Production. Like we're going to make these players do things like a little
at some point.
Fat. Finzi, get out of the chat. Get into the game. It's time to party. Shout out to everyone. We got Rusted Skull returning. Del Sleeps is here. And Python 314 says, I'm a man of the people. Yes, I am, Python. And you're one of us now. Let's get into game number 3's Ban and Protects in just a moment. Sparker, though, just let him play Winter Soldier with a raccoon. I want to see it one time today.
I think the more he says that phrase, Bans and Protects coming down, the quicker it's gonna happen. I'm so
I do think speaking of the Ban Protect, speaking of the Ban Protect, I think there's an option for VP, a little dagger up the sleeve, if you will, of throwing a Protect at the Hela, because the Luminosity have been second banning it, which means it is vulnerable to potentially being protected. That does mean you might lose the Luna Snow, which could be an expensive cost to pay. However, I think the Hela is really monstrous out of 5. I think that's something that they can rely on, something that can be a source of strength for them. As good as Sparker has been, that'll be interesting to put the pressure on Destroyed. Like, if you put Hela in the server, Naga is going to not be able to have that same raw carry impact because Hela kind of takes over that role. It kind of takes those powerful wide angle positions, takes a bit more resource, and that's where I think VP should be really confident in Fi. They're going to keep going with the group ban though, and I think Luminosity should probably respond by banning the Thing based on that last map.
And Thing is gone. Big shout out. We had All Stutter coming in with a sub. Put your Prime to use. You already order Amazon? Give us your free sub. It's a Prime. Hit that button. We're over 700 followers. We are nearing 200 subscribers, and we got a Venom on. Trust me, once again. I feel like, Jake, they've now figured each other out. This is going to be the ban and protects back and forth, back and forth. Virtus.pro, you don't need to do anything different here, right? Just protect.
I guess not. And to be honest, banning Adam Warlock, I think you may need to now, just because it's the threat of the Star-Lord team up is pretty explosive. Maybe VP just want to write off that last map and just run it again.
Is Saipan not like an Adam Warlock player? Because I do think that there's no reason why Virtus.pro
it's the res comp
out of that. Yeah,
it's just annoying.
You have the better Star-Lord, I feel, right? To sort of force into this kind of matchup. Oh, I guess not, but that's fine. So very typical ban.
Okay, run it back.
Nose destroyed Hela this game.
No change, no change. And I agree with you, Puckett. I think this is not the best Venom map. So Luminosity, they're always protecting the Venom, but will it really pay the dividends here? This will be a tougher test for Trust Me, one where I think it's a little bit less comfortable. Curious though, will VP take the Venom Mirror? Because based on these bans, the way they've gone, maybe they will. Maybe there's another look available for them. But
if they don't, we get to see Winter Soldier. If they stay on the Venom, it's just more and more. And I'll be honest, after 2 maps, I think I'm good. I'm ready to move on.
Enough whales, enough boats.
Enough whales with feet. 4-legged whales.
Yeah, they got grip.
How's that work, chat? What century was that from? Is it from the future? Is it from the past? Is it a different world within our world? I haven't read the comics.
It's like from the Mesolithic era, I think. I don't know what they were doing. But they were walking on land back then, I think. Up on that Pangea, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that Pangea.
That Pangea.
Russia, Alaska, same shit. I get you.
That's it. Y'all know. All right. If we heading into this match, this is kind of the one that I raised is a little bit tricky at times to, make use of the Venom, but there are options, right? Nevix has been on the Venom. We've seen this from him and looks quite good. Looks very reasonable. The approach can just be a little bit awkward. There are ways that you can get up through the high ground. There's some sort of higher tunnels here, but obviously a low roof here makes it awkward to use a grapple and to try and get into the back line. But once you get out onto the point, it's a completely different story. The map does change as well over time, Jake, and you can also get to the high ground from this part of the map as it reforms soon.
Yeah, early pressure trade going VP's way. It's going to get them out onto the point a little bit stronger. Also allows Sparker to take a bit of a fight on the off angle. Naga's challenging it, but the Loki's here with him, and they're getting crunched on. Luminosity full surrounded. VP eating them alive.
Wow, there it is. Fi is able to deal with Crook first and foremost. Into the back line, of course, getting Bulwark given, and the Blaster Barrage will account for one of those healers, and this is the problem for LG now. Now they have to approach through what feels like chokes until the map sort of reforms somewhat, and VP can already sit Nevix up on the high ground. He can play in that position, try and deny them. We talked about this, Jake. The Wolverine here on this map, it's a bit of a head scratcher.
That's a long walk up, right? Like this sideline in particular, you just can't really do anything on Wolverine. You're just kind of trying to juke through, make a little bit of space. But on the other side, Vi pretty happy to get into the front line pressure trade. The Fog, though, is a pretty comfortable spot for Wolverine with his melee nature. He's going to be able to come around the flank, see if he can find some kind of a connection there.
Fog's cleared. Shout out Lord Kuma for the prime. Thank you. Nevix gets to the back line now. It's time to get the business. There are a lot of Loki clones to deal with here, but you're looking at that Luna Snow, of course, trying to bring her out of the game. Good job by Nevix, tying up that back line, making it harder for LG to get healing in Trust Me's direction, and there's no backup there for that dive. Sparker, I think, thought he might have been clear of that Horn of Proteus, but he didn't have his shield available, so has to eat that one. With Nevix falling here, VP down to 4. Fly has to go big to try and salvage things here, but he does not look comfortable.
Ultimate still being popped by VP despite losing 2 at the start of the fight. They're one of the few teams in the world who would recommit, and Finzi with 2 has now equalized for VP. They're holding onto the point this whole time. Saife rips the copy, wants to double down, wants to recommit. Luminosity scrambling for the scraps. Sparker ready to slam the door from behind.
Yeah, he just wraps around, deploys the monstrous spawns like a trail of breadcrumbs, leading Luminosity to nothing but their own demise. Brutal to watch. Trust Me now going to try and go in with the Feast of the Abyss, but the healing is going to be thick and fast for Virtus.pro, and frankly, Trust Me doesn't have any way to make use of the extra durability. So that's a way, an ultimate, straight down the Gurgler. And Virtus.pro simply return to controlling this high ground vantage point, denying it from Luminosity.
Yeah, I love this position from Sparker, helping the Venom hold the flank. Has to fall back for the moment, though. Really runs the risk of getting caught. Nice freeze, though, by the Luna Snow, getting Nevix off his back. Venom's going to go in for this, but still a lot of tankiness available on this Venom. He's not in too much trouble. Fi gets the pressure on elsewhere, but he does force the bubble. Keep that Venom alive and kicking.
Yeah. Again, if you don't have, like, if you turn auto snapping of your grapple off on Venom, it can be a little bit awkward sometimes to actually swing out of those situations. I think Nevix was struggling with that exact timing there. Still, Virtus.pro at 99%. Luminosity, this is a fight you basically just have to give them at this point. They're spending for it. Unless Nevix wants to, you know, maybe find a massive multi-kill scenario yet again. I wouldn't hold it against him. Okay, we're going for this, for the backline. Ooh, we were looking for it. It will be a point flip here for Luminosity now, as that Galactic Legend does not find anything.
Does force Rajaro into a Meteor M, though, so it kind of drains a bit of the bank. And Luminosity, that was expensive. 3 big ultimates deployed. They do have that Luna Snow on the other side, so very much still winnable. But Saipe, if he can get the damage amp combo, copy the Luna Snow, there's an opportunity here for Sparker to blow things wide open with the Whale. And you've also got Finzi with the Meteor M. I mean, last time he deployed this, it was for a 2 kill. Replicating that, surely a bridge too far, but he's going to try.
27% of counting. Be shout out. Crazy Squirrel with the Prime sub. Thank you for supporting us here at Rivals Fight Night. Sparky here, looking towards the top side of the map and actually throwing the Monstro spawns pretty close by. Gives him some defensive setup in case Trust Me does exactly that. Tries to dive in. They have a Feast of the Abyss though, so there's definitely staying power for the enemy Venom, but instead, Trust Me wants to drop into more neutral territory. Finzi soaks up a fair bit of damage. Pretty speculative Meteor there, but at least is in a good position after the fact now on both duels from Virtus.pro. What a downhill battle when Finzi was able to tie up a lot of Luminosity on that high ground by the looks.
Parker looking for opportunities, wants to call in the Horn of Proteus, is going to drop it, is going to have the damage amp. No, not quite getting the connection there. Stabilization comes out though for VP. They pop that ultimate from Dreedro. Copy though from Luminosity, keeping them in contention.
Nevix gonna be knocked away again. Feral Lead pretty hard to deal with. The Wolverine is a problem. Fire has already built another ultimate. It's time to go to work with it now. Who's the target going to be? Luna Snow seems like a pretty good option if I'm honest, but Rajaro did pop the Meteor M in response. It wasn't enough to soak up the damage that Fire had though, and so he does get rid of Fate. That's Luna off the map. Brutal stuff, as it's going to be much later now before Luminosity get another Fate of both worlds online. Finzi traded out for Trust Me here, but now there's no backline pressure for Luminosity. Fire here over the top. Decent damage, but again, it's Wolverine and it's Magneto, so 2 pretty nuggety targets. Very durable, hard to bring down at the best of times. Fire's trying to play inside that rejuvenation domain, but now that has been cleared off. Virtus.pro don't have any big ultimates yet. It's Horn of Proteus just built up for Sparker. Might be an opportunity to throw that one deep here as Destroyed eventually is going to have to back away. Brought low by the poke damage. Here's Sparker. Here's the Horn. It's a big belly flop landing for the Aquatic Assailant. 2 picked up for Sparker. And Trust Me, committing ultimate here seems like a big one, but they've got no choice. Luminosity have to give up what they can.
Yeah, the round looks to be too difficult. That connection finally came through with Sparker, finding the devil on the Horn of Proteus. They've been looking for that combo pretty much all series long, finally getting it where it counts here on map 3. Luminosity are going to fall in round 1. Not only that, but BP go into round 2 with a real head of steam, big ultimate advantage. It was a very close round, but the final result is lopsided for Virtus.pro. Going into the Imperial Institute of Science. How did you not know that map name, Mitch? Is
no, it was actually Warrior Falls that I had forgotten. But you know what? I probably
the Imperial Institute of Science goes crazy. I'm never gonna forget it now.
I mean, I'm just not. I mean, I just need to get into the reference material a little bit more. Honestly, I would have called it Imperial Spaceport or something ridiculous like that. Just get them mixed up, you know. I mean, this is pretty damning considering the round went as close as it did, Jake, and the entirety of Luminosity only managed 6 final hits. That says quite a lot to me.
Destroyed doing pretty massive damage. Kind of insane that he's top damaging on that level on the Wolverine, but the rest of the squad on VP are battling back just as hard. Fi, a lot of big value he was able to get off the Galactic Legends in the last round, winning a couple of key team fights. I mean, Luminosity, they have a lot of defensive options, but once they're exhausted, the Galactic Legend is such a strong cleanup tool. And speaking of exhausted options, they have no ults to deal with it here on the opening fight of the Institute of Science. What is it called again?
Imperial Institute of Science, right?
Yeah. Imperial. That's the adjective.
It rolls off the tongue, really.
Yeah. Come on.
Here's Rajaro. Another name that just rolls on out. Try and take some space here if he can, and taking note, of course, of the Wolverine to his left, trying to get in there. But Vi brought a special gift into this round for Virtus.pro. One the Luminosity might not appreciate. LG shelter inside those rejuvenation domains, though, and so the Galactic Legend expires. Rajaro into the skies there briefly, with the Meteor Rim at the ready now. The massive plays here on the side of Virtus.pro that he could try and take advantage of, but Sparker, Saipe, they're all sort of tucked in that corner, all pretty hard to see. And the dives just keep coming in here from this venom of Nevix.
VP forced into the first support ultimates. Luminosity are fighting this incredibly well with a nice advantage so far in the fight. Meteor M's, though, could change that. Destroyed. Fighting Nevix is the opportunity. And Sparker, struggling to even get into this fight, has been zoned off the flank. Luminosity looking like they might get the first cap here.
And so it is. Virtus.pro. See, Sparker only able to take it piecemeal and work in tentatively from the periphery. They lose the main fight. Nevix is not able to take enough stress off the rest of VP. And frankly, Sparker had all the time in the world to get good poke damage down and just could not find anything, to write home about with it. Now Fate's gonna develop that Fate of both worlds.
Fate just has another Galactic Legend. What the hell?
Yeah,
he's cheating, dude. That's crazy.
Every fight he's building him. It's insane.
He just does so much damage even without the ultimate. There is that Luna Snow ready to be popped. The dance floor from Fate could help them get through, but Fi just already burst. Trust me. Oh, was that a DC?
Yeah, I might be DC was destroyed. But, I think they tried not to capitalize on it, but the Monstro spawn does not care if a player leaves the server. So we'll keep an eye on that, but not great for Luminosity. They definitely want all 6 players here, and we do not have the functionality yet to pause the game. However,
he's back,
the next pack. It's coming. It's coming. Sorry, it's destroyed. Next week would have been a different story. Naka falling here to fight. Crook trying to play solo within that rejuvenation domain, and this is scary. That is now expired, which means Fire can go to work with the blasters.
Crook is great on this Loki. I mean, he's making the most of the resources he does have, with just the rejuve domain. That's getting them through that first fight in the Galactic Legend, but it's too much in that fight there. Without Destroyed, losing a player, that's just really rough. I mean, as good as VP are, you give them any kind of advantage like that, and they're just going to wipe the floor with you. They do exactly that. Luminosity have to make an insane comeback here to win this map, to keep this series in contention. VP 5 ultimates in the tank. They have a long way to go on the cap, so time is something that Luminosity do have to work with.
Yeah, if I'm VP, I probably want to use these ultimates now, get them out, get them cycling into the next iteration because of just how long it's going to be. You want to get a pretty overwhelming edge if you can here. Nevix has the room to pop the shielding, so Destroyed won't be able to put the Fear of God in him yet. He'll head elsewhere to try and dive. Beast of the Abyss is available for him. Now the Bulwark here is going to be able to stave off most of that Wolverine damage now. A lot of it being soaked up by Finzi. Thought he had an opportunity there. It's kind of hard to see where the Meteor M actually connected. Sparker has to hold on to this Horn of Proteus now. This is looking a little bit dodgy for VP. I think they were hoping for some longer time on the point now. Instead, they're going to turn tail. They've got to regroup entirely.
Yeah, and I don't think they even want to commit ults. It is going to be the flip for Luminosity. Virtus.pro with their tail between their legs, trying to respawn, trying to get all the way back. It's extremely difficult to get out. Naga is just so sharp with those tridents. Looks for more, and with that pick, that's a strategist. They could look for more. They could look to continue pressuring the spawn. And the walk-up is a difficult one for VP. Wolverine catches Fi on the flank, cleans him up, and it's going to be final fight here for Virtus.pro. Despite some really unlucky events, Luminosity are fighting back.
Yeah, they're looking like, honestly, the better team on this map so far. I think losing Naga there really hurts them. Now they're going to make use of the rest of the rejuve domain with only 5 players to trade damage back out of it, and yeah, very quickly. Luminosity are going to want to try and regroup. They have to hope that they haven't just offered a window for Virtus.pro to get back into the game and get ahead in maps now. Spark wants to double back here, sees the dive into his own backline. The Wolverine is pretty scary, and it's Nevix going down. Fire can only stall, because the Lunar Snow ultimate renders this Galactic Legend virtually useless, highly impotent at that. And VP kind of in touch. We're headed to a 3rd round here on Birnin T'Challa, Stellar Spaceport.
And Loki copied just before losing that round. So that's one more ult they're not going to have. A rare mistake out of Virtus.pro. Luminosity, I'm shocked that they're able to win that round, given that they dropped the DC. I mean, they came into the round with like ults stacked against them. They had realistically everything was stacked up against them. They had no advantages in that round. They just did that with pure willpower, pure grit and determination.
Uber, highly impotent is a ridiculous call.
It just didn't do anything. It feels so bad. It feels so flaccid. Just hanging above the battlefield with your 2 blasters ready to, to put them on notice, and you just don't do any damage. I guess that's the issue for a lot of duelists in this game, though. You just you just see those healing ultimates and you're like, well, I guess I'll try next year. Take too long to get this damage down. All of a sudden, we've seen Luminosity come alive here. So Stroid and Naga, it's really been the duelists. I mentioned they only had 6 final hits after that last round, Jake. Oh, they've drastically exceeded that after last round.
Yeah, and the response to the Wolverine has been really challenging for Virtus.pro. They haven't been able to put it together, not being able to turn and focus fire him down, or when they do turn, he's getting those Magneto shields. He's in and out. So Stroid really, being the X factor. This map, though, is much more open. This should, in theory, favor Virtus.pro's comp, should put them in a good position.
All right. Rajaro trying to play, not fully committed out into the open. But run of the shade to some degree. So Destroys the first casualty here. So no Wolverine. Now, all of a sudden, Finzi knows there's no one here to really sort of move him around. Thank you very much. 6,100 followers reached. Thanks for your follow. Really appreciate that. Make sure you hit the bell soon when we go live, folks. Sparky going down first. Crook with the ice arts able to cut through. Now we have a trade of players. 1 for 1. Finzi there just bonks Fate with that gigantic meteor. And that is exactly the pick you're looking for. However, well, Crook had a Fate of both walls ready to go anyway. Was able to duplicate the Lunar just in time, keep them fighting. Nobody's captured the point yet. Everyone respects that meteor in, but Finzi had a screen up to block most of it now, and Nevix is going to drop in. There should not be anything to protect against this. Fire's waited very patiently for his chance with no strategist ultimates in play.
It's a very firm ultimate usage from 5. Very tight, very useful, effective. Any other adjectives you can think of, Mitch?
Efficacious, maybe?
I like that. I like efficacious. Yeah. It was efficacious. Yes. Luminosity on the retake. And I mean, the Wolverine, though, as good as it's been on the last 2 maps, this is a pretty rough Wolverine map. Snipes from Naga, though, needs to get some big connections.
I don't know. This is nice to be seeing here.
He killed Crook? That's insane.
What? Yeah, I mean, Crook, I guess, just gets a little bit too close and doesn't respect the cellular corrosion. I think he could have probably walked away from that one. Or maybe he accidentally swapped into a clone that was also affected by one of the tendrils. I'm not sure. Either way, feels like a miscalculation. And it's like the freest of free kills. Like, yeah, at this level, you just do not see Venom being able to get so much value on their own.
You also see how much Luminosity are relying on the heal output from Crook, man. When you lose your Loki, things fall apart so incredibly fast in this comp. A lot of responsibility in that position here. Naga clearing out some of those clones as his team starts to walk up. Should help them a little bit in terms of that spam game. But man, Wolverine trying to fight on the point now, getting that connection, but Virtus.pro just hitting them from all sides.
Naga again. You see, they were affected by the corrosion. They do ignore it to some degree because they got to come forward. Now, Water Proteus, straight at the point. A little hastily deployed, I think, and Naga's going to go down. Punished there for his, I guess, yeah, lack of interest in biding his time. Rajaro picked off now. We're going to have Saiped dupe an ultimate by the looks of things. Yeah, waiting on the chance for that Lunar Snow to bust it down. And of course, VP have all the healing that they could need. Stellar Spaceport has been a very one-sided map right now, and Fi is looking to clean off these interlopers. There's no way Fate's going to escape from that one. Utter domination here for VP heading into the last 10%, and they ain't slowing down.
Just crazy that LG win round 2 with everything that went against them. But round 3, I think this is more of a comp situation. Wolverine just falling flat here. Hold on, though. Strange Portal getting Luminosity back into the fight. Giving them a shot here, despite being down 99-0. They have 1 pick on VP. It's an even fight. Few ultimates to be deployed. And trust me, it's coming back with that Venom ult.
Yeah, destroyed, of course. The Wolverine didn't work for him. Well, moments Luminosity been flaccid in this round. Nevix has been absolutely turgid in the mix. Real dominant force, and look at the healing coming in from him. You cannot kill this guy. Luminosity forgetting that you've got to go after the strategists. So Nevix soaks the damage, builds up yet another Feast of the Abyss, and is ready to go to work on the enemy strategists as well. Break that rejuve zone pretty easily. Crook is able to at least get away by swapping with another clone. But it's a Fate of both worlds for Dredro. This is going to match what Crook threw down, and Crook, Fate rather, should have their Lunar so ult to go with now. Cypher, though, will copy one, and we're just going to 4 Lunar ultimates. That's the way it's going to go. This gives both teams a chance to build their ultimates on account of the fact that they're just not dying under any circumstances. But Fire respects the interloper pushing him there. I think it was maybe it's Destroyed actually going over towards that Star-Lord. They get brought down. Here's an Iron Vagamoto though in play. Naga is stunned up by it, and Sparker on the Psylocke is able to capitalize. Fire with a commanding view of the situation. Sends the airstrike on in. Luminosity are out of time, and they're out of respawns as well. Naga without a portal to throw in. There's no chance of really touching outside of the Venom, which of course, trust me, will be taken to task pretty quickly, folks. There it is. BP go up 2-1 in the series.
Great showing there on Stellar Spaceport. Virtus.pro keeping the confidence in their composition, knowing that, okay, well, the Wolverine was a little bit tough on some of the closer range maps, but here with the space to work with, Fi, he was the closer in so many of those fights, holding on to the Galactic Legend until all the defensive utility is expended. It's a really key difference maker. A lot of, less aware players would have popped that ultimate early, tried to make something happen, and it would have just been wasted into the strategist ultimates like you talked about, Mitch. But Fi, he was really on point with that. 36,000 damage is a pretty monster map.
2 deaths. 2 deaths, I think, for a Star-Lord is pretty insane. The fact that Virtus.pro are able to play their Star-Lord so aggressively without, abusing the Adam Warlock team up, I think is quite impressive, because there are so many teams that don't bother. They don't bring Star-Lord in if they don't have the Adam Warlock, but Virtus.pro are built a little different. I think Saipe and Dridro have their heads on a swivel, respectively. The amount of healing they're able to put out over towards, Fi to make sure he stays in the game, while in fairness, less than what Crook did over the course of the series, which is pretty crazy, is what allows Fi to do what he does so well. Been remarking on it since the start of the series. Great showing here, and we've got some Venom gameplay on that map from both sides. I am not complaining.
Was Crook 64,000 heals of Fight Night high?
I mean,
I don't know if I have seen a higher number on that.
It's pretty close. It's really interesting to see the radical playstyle difference between the two Lokis. Like, I think Saipe did more than double Crook's damage, and Crook did about double the healing. I mean, they're really just having fully different approaches to what they're optimizing for. Saipe pumping a ton of damage, really focusing down enemy targets, where Crook is really just being the stabilizer, holding it down for the team, focusing a lot more on the healing. And it's really interesting to see the huge difference. I guess part of that comes from the Star-Lord, where, with the Star-Lord, you don't need to heal him as much compared to Wolverine, who needs a lot more heal resource. But that's still a pretty massive difference in stat gap for 2 players playing the same character.
I think the chat nailed it. Big issue for Luminosity on the final stage. Well, Star-Lord and Fi, they had their way. On the other side, you bring out a Wolverine because you've charged up an ultimate. You don't want to waste it, right, Mitch? You spent all round 2 charging it up. You can't. You can't run Wolverine on that last stage. Not against Virtus.pro.
There's just nowhere to hide. Like, you obviously want to stay out of line of sight, and you got to remember that Final Stand is only good when you have a lot of rage build up, because the damage scales on that rage. But to go and build the rage, you get slapped around because you're playing out in the open a lot of the time. Unless you're in control of the point and you're pushing off of it, then it's much more reasonable. But that was not what we saw from Luminosity, as they did not control the point for most of that last round.
I want to give a big shout out to Don Hale. Very first time chat. This Wolverine has been so flaccid. That was the middle of round 3. We agree with you, Don Hale. We're going to a break. When we come back, Uber gets to rejoin his family as ZP joins Rivals Fight Night. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's Fight Night round 6, where we have Magnetos charging up giant meteorems. That's that big purple ball that gets all the metal stuff collected, and then it gets thrown right through your freaking window that was built by a Doctor Strange in a circular pattern. But hold, wait for the spawn. Bang! 0 damage done.
That wall did not see that coming. Not ready for that smoke.
We were expecting more, to be honest, but ZP, we can't always get what we want unless you're a Venom main, and then you were giving it already last week.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Venom main right now, you're eating well today, and part of that is LG forcing the Venom, saying we're gonna protect it, we're gonna run it, and other team, you're gonna have to adapt to it. And look, it might have been a little bit rough versus Royal Beamers, and yeah, they may be down a map versus Virtus.pro, but overall, in the course of the day, they have made it work.
Yeah, Luminosity is now gonna get the map pick. We're gonna see where they choose to go, Jake. We don't think domination is in their best interest. So, looking at the past, where do you want to go? Symbiotic Surface is the answer. So your Venom Protect is coming in. Do you try and ban it if you're Virtus.pro on the other side? Do you have to waste one on Venom?
I actually think that's an interesting question, because LG have just liked it so much. The bigger question, though, is even if Luminosity ban a different thing, is just if they stop banning Groot, I think that also changes the game pretty drastically if Groot is just available.
Protect.
But so far, VP have just wanted to continue to ban Groot out. They haven't wanted to have it in the series. I think the fact that Luminosity is consistently banning their thing, though, does force a bit of another wrinkle for them to think about. And I mean, so far, maybe there's an argument you just like, hey, just don't change anything, we've been winning. But Midtown was a great showing for Luminosity, and the Wolverine is another hero that you could start to think about targeting for VP as the series progresses.
ZP, you have an Airbnb. It only has 4 rooms in it. who from Virtus.pro do you invite to hang out?
Who do I invite from Virtus.pro? It's got to be Nevix, man. Like, going back to the very beginning of my casting career, Nevix was there. I mean, I got to get Nevix back in for nothing
Nevix,
else.
He's got the biggest room. Who's number two?
Nevix is a chiller.
Yeah, okay. Who's number two? Honestly, probably Finzi, just because Finzi has been hanging out in chat the entire time, and I got to reward that. I mean, Finzi, maybe the most active chatter in from VP, somehow chatting mid-game at times. It's wizardry.
We'll assume that you have your own room, of course, but the best part of this Airbnb is the fourth room, while the players are waiting to pick and ban, by the way, is a room with a bunk bed. So who are the final two? And who gets top bunk?
You know, final two? I think Sparker, and you got to give Sparker top bunk, and then to go along with it, maybe Dredro. Put Dredro over in there, you know, just a little bit of strategic support to go on in.
All right, there we go. Jake, you are the chef. What are you cooking for him?
I'm making frozen pizza. Hot and fresh. That's the only thing I know how to cook. So
corn dogs.
Anything that goes in the oven or the microwave. So we got tater tots,
Nice.
microwave corn dogs. Just everything a grown boy needs, frankly. Just full food pyramid, you know. Pizza, corn dogs, tater tots.
Jake is paleo and he only eats raw vegetables. We'll talk about his diet a little bit later on his Instagram. You guys can buy his whole program. For now, though, we're getting into the bands it protects. I'm told Luminosity done with their bathroom break. They've had a little huddle on the sideline. They got into a team speak. They played Eye of the Tiger. They're fired up, or whatever version of hype music you play in Europe before a big game. ZP, can they force a game 5? Something they haven't been able to do in their previous 4 meetings.
I think it really depends on the bands that VP comes out with, because for me, I think if I'm VP and I want to make this last map easier, I recognize some of the threats that have been coming in, particularly when you look at a player like Naga, right? Even though I don't think Namor is played badly at all by VP, I think Namor is played so well by LG that if you're VP, you consider taking off the Namor on the back end of the ban pick, right? Like, you stick with the group ban, but then towards the end, you also take away the Namor and you put Naga on something else. If I'm VP, that's what I do going into this.
Production, if we have to wait on these players any longer, I would love to fill time with more whales, highlights, maybe even a clip of Emma Frost, who is going to be dominating everybody's lobby. Reminder, season 2 is about to kick off. Jake, I'm staying up all night. I've already had 2 Celsius, by the way, future sponsor of Rivals Fight Night, 200 milligrams per can. Keeps you going all night long. But talk to me about the future. What are we looking forward to next week on this show? I'm expecting 2,000 viewers minimum.
I mean, I think it's just all the shakeup, right? Like, next week we get to see all the pro players, the way they play, the newest patch. I think that's like one of the most fun things about esports is like folks at home playing Marvel Rivals. A lot of the people watching the show probably love playing the game and hopping in themselves. And now you get to watch what the best players in the world do now. And I mean, at this point, we're a few weeks in, months in really to this meta. It's been pretty stable. Now we're going to get on to like a whole, I mean, the team ups are changing. They're changing a lot of the individual heroes. I feel like balance is going to go out the window and we're going to just see like a whole new cast of heroes coming in at the top level. And I'm just super excited to watch the best teams in the world kind of battle it out, duke it out, and find what really is the best way to play Marvel Rivals so I can copy their strats and abuse them to hit Celestia.
I'm just excited to no longer have the same team up requested every single lobby. Here we go, ZP. We've got another fight on the way. Luminosity taking us to the surface. They were able to win this map earlier. They got all 3 points, looking very strong on the attack. Virtus.pro making sure Nevix does not get his thing. On the other side, VP says no group. Okay, seen this before, Jake.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't hate the concept of VP to just keep it running. But, yeah, I would have preferred them protecting like a Hela. I think like, but maybe you just think we don't really need to change anything up. I mean, I guess from their perspective, they can see, what, Midtown's a write-off. We were cocky. We were talking in Twitch chat. We'll just win it if we play it again. And so just keep changing nothing and keep being the stronger team. But to ZP's point, I mean, I would, if I were a VP, I would be putting a little bit more respect on Luminosity and trying to target them a little bit more aggressively with the ban pick approach.
I've seen these picks. I've seen these bans. Are you guys ready for a Hela ban? There she is. Ready. In the meantime, let us know which hero will you be running in the future, because we know who's not allowed in these lobbies. See you later, Adam. We've got game number 4. Can Virtus.pro finish it, or are we going to a game 5? Jake, I love that you watch intently, like they'll do something different. They'll
I'm
give me
willing it.
some
I'm
hope
willing
for
it.
this next one. Nah, bro. VP's been doing this for 5
Makes
weeks
my job
straight.
easy. I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
Boom. Done. ZP, show is yours, my guy. Let's get into these games.
All right, Jake, we're heading on into it. And yeah, I mean, VP deciding, nope, we're not going to target some of the things LG is better at. Instead, they figure we can just play our game and win it as we head over in the symbiotic surface where, you know, LG, when they've been down in the past, they've liked going over the symbiotic surface. And, you know, in terms of maps where you have more room for strategy, more rooms for setups, I mean, symbiotic surface is that place.
Strikes me as a good Venom map. I mean, not only thematically, but also there's a lot of high ceilings for Venom to work with and to kind of hit from different angles. But that's something that, I mean, for Virtus.pro, this is a bit of a test of their strength to be mirroring Luminosity in Luminosity's comfort zone. You could argue that this is just like their confidence that they're like, you know what, we've won so many times with a different look. Let's just win with this one. Let's take it in the Venom mirror. Let's say that maybe this is the meta. Like, we can play Venom too. We can compete with the best Venom team in Europe. And I mean, I don't really blame VP for being really confident. Like, they've been winning everything, whether even outside of their history here in Rivals Fight Night, which is relatively new. They've been winning across the board in the Marvel Rivals Invitational, the Marvel Rivals Championship, pretty much everything we've seen competitively in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, they've been the team to beat. But we're going to kick things off here with the Strange Portal. See if Trust Me does a quick swap. He does. So Portal is in, so is LG. And, you know, I think part of why they go to this map, Jake, is that it's a playground for Namor, both on attack and defense. And, you know, we got the camera on the right person here in Naga, seeing how Naga sets things up, seeing if he can pick apart elements of VP. But for now, Jake, both teams kind of feeling each other out here. Not a deep dive yet.
Yeah, Luminosity being forced to come cap the point. It's not really what you want to do on the Wolverine, who isn't quite finding the connections he's hoping for. The poke coming in there. Finzi finds the opener.
Yeah, Finzi taking out Rajaro early. Already going to be putting LG in a bit of a hole right now. So you're down one. You're hoping you can get pick off here. But in terms of tanking power, you know, Trust Me is just getting pummeled all the while. And it's a little bit of a strategic retreat that we're seeing right now from LG going, okay, we're going to wait a little bit, get Rajaro back in the fight. If we get a pick off, we'll go for it. But, you know, it's a decent approach here, Jake, rather than just trying to go all in and lose everyone.
I do like that VP are playing this so passively because Luminosity are not running a comp that can come stand on the point and just full cap it in front of Spam. Like, this is not going to happen for them. Crook, though, does find a Spam kill of his own onto Fi, and that's the opening that Luminosity were looking for. Going to go with the copy, immediately doubling down and started to pressure this point. VP stalling for time, going to commit ult of their own.
Yeah, it's a really nice opening, and Crook right now, Fate of Both Worlds, good to go. Gonna drop it here off the copy. They lose Destroyed, though, before the Fate of Both Worlds even comes out. They're gonna drop the horn. Nothing off Naga's horn. Still very winnable here from VP. Meteor M gonna be invested. Looking for a little bit more instead. VP now gonna invest some ult to their own. Fate of Both Worlds out. And we look at Trust Me right now, trying to get anything done in the backline, but Sparker's horn. This time it hits pay dirt. Takes Naga out of the fight. VP chipping away at LG right now, Jake. Just doing what they need to do to hold on to the point and keep presence.
And Rajaro is really hamstrung with this Meteor M. I feel like he can't pop it aggressively or else Fi is going to turn the tables with that Galactic Legend. And so it's just both of them waiting the other out. They may just not be able to really deploy their ults if they both have the same mindset. Destroyed in the Wolverine, though. This could be the opener. Wolverine Ultimate could catch one of these players for Virtus.pro. So VP, especially the Vanguard's got to be cautious with their positioning.
Yeah, so Destroyed nearly dying before the fight even begins. But yeah, I mean, last stand going to be crucial here. Meteor M being held in reserve for Galactic Legend. LG, only a minute 20 left to go, so not much time, but Naga finds Dreedro early. Massive pick for your Namor. And now Galactic Legend going to be used. And interestingly enough, Rajaro was able to save the Meteor M. They were just able to use line of sight here, Jake. A massive boon in Ultimate Economy. And here comes Destroyed into the back. Holding on to that last stand, waiting for the opportunity, getting low, low, low. Finally, decides to drop it. Nevix, meanwhile, though, gets Trust Me on the other end. The last stand, not taking down Magneto just yet. Still staying alive. The Fate of Both Worlds going to keep Magneto nice and healthy. As LG right now, trying to take advantage from the good opening. Rajaro, though, Meteor M strikes, but so does Finzi in turn, and Jake Finzi gets to play more.
Finzi dominant on the point right now. The strategist ult's keeping the rest of the Luminosity players alive, but there's only 4 of them. They have no duelists, real damage issues, and Sparker, he has none of those. Pushing forward, charging, dropping the whale onto Crook, and now potential team wipe on the cards here. Virtus.pro, they smell blood in the water, sense the opportunity to fully reset this Luminosity attack. Destroyed is going to go over to the Star-Lord, but it's very late in the round, 20 seconds left. I think Luminosity need to TP out. I don't know that a conventional approach to the point is really going to work for them. They're trying not to. They're trying to keep the strong comp, maybe going to rely on Trust Me to get the touch, but it's a difficult fight here. Very little time to work with.
Yeah, I mean, Trust Me's gonna have to go in and pop the feast and hope for the best. Things not ideal right now for LG, but also VP drained on ultimates, so there is a chance if they get any pickoffs in the neutral. Can they look to Naga one more time? Overtime in progress. Tournament life on the line. Fi, though, able to take down Rajaro early on. Already down to tank is LG. 5 versus 6. Overtime progress. They need to stand the point. Dredro picking off Trust Me, and that is it, Jake. They hold them off on first, and VP sets himself up for an easy road to being our money match champion once more.
Yeah, and I guess VP were right to double down with the bans. I gotta admit, because they knew their strength, they had confidence, maybe just overconfident on Midtown, having a little bit too much fun with things. A much more stable setup, a much more defensive posture for them on Symbiotic Surface, and it pays dividends. The patience works out. Finzi was a huge performer that round. While Rajaro found a few opportunities, Finzi on the Magneto was constantly cutting down those attackers for Luminosity Gaming.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about what the stakes going into this here, Jake. VP, of course, on match point, now point, as it were, right? Where all they need to do is get 51% on first and Symbiotic, and they will be your champions once again. Meanwhile, for LG, I mean, this is going to have to be an immense defense, like a greater, fuller hold that, you know, we haven't really seen all that often rivals-wise, but that is now the scenario they're in, and you know, Jake, they're not changing anything up from the looks of it. They're still going to run with what they've run with pretty much all day long.
While we have your attention, Virtus.pro up 2-1 on match point, about to finish the game. Our sales team would like to remind you, if you have an active Prime, use your Prime sub for free. It costs you nothing. We're hitting our goal of 200 subs before the end of the broadcast, and I get a raise. Back to you guys.
That's right. Puckett always looking out for the bottom line on all ends. But here we go, Jake. LG, what's it going to be? Do they have the full defense in them, or will VP be the champions once more? The pitcher-in-pitcher portal can, as we get on into it. VP.
They're going to flip the map here, and then just send Nevix back in from the other side. He's very, very quick here to the point. And Virtus.pro already in a pretty nice spot. Going to be awkward for the defenders to be able to spam point from this position.
Yeah, and again, for LG, they need to be perfect. Nevix, though, getting pummeled a little bit. Able to get back away, healed back up in time. LG cannot give up anything in the neutral here if they want any hope of holding on for 4 minutes. It's destroyed. Walking on forward, looking for an opportunity. A lot going to be here on Naga, who they look to for neutral picks in key situations. No situation, though, Jake, more key than where we're at right now. The poke is coming in. Sparker, though, gets destroyed. And now at the 6v5, VP may be on their victory rush.
Yeah, Sparker, so dominant, has that snowflake, now diving into the backline, getting on the supports, forces that regeneration domain, now balls out to get up into the high ground. Copy Luna's Snow ultimate from level 1 quick is going to stabilize Luminosity for the moment. VP going to go with the copy of their own. Is the whale going to connect? Not quite for Luminosity, and they needed that one.
They needed something there from Naga, but now dueling Meteor M's. Rajaro looking, nothing had. LG. Naga goes down, Finzi with the huge pick, and now LG struggling to stay in this. Destroyed, comes back in on Star-Lord. 3 down, 4 for LG. Virtus.pro, Jake, they're going to take this one away. The champions of EU once more, just proving consistency tournament after tournament, week after week.
Bobinator 077, thank you for the 5 gifted. Big shout out to the community. VP gonna take home the cash one more time. It seems that the best Luminosity can do is 1, but I gotta say, I felt there was some progress this week. I felt that they were able to put up a more competitive performance on quite a few of these maps, win or lose. So I was impressed with what Luminosity showed. I think Virtus.pro is going to have to also put a little bit of respect on the name. I think they've gotten a little bit overconfident. And as much as they won 3-1 this week, it's also a week of them realizing they need to be even better. There's potential global competition on the horizon. Virtus.pro wants to keep rising with that tide.
Finzi, Nevix, Fi, Sparker, Saipe, and Dredro do it once again. 5-time champions, I should say, out of our 6 weeks. This is ridiculous numbers. You've dropped, what, 2 maps the entirety of Rivals Fight Night, ZP?
That sounds about right to me. And overall, within EU competition in general, they're not really known for dropping much as far as maps go. This team has been above reproach. They have been the kings of EU, and nothing we saw today really changes that part. I mean, all we've seen in the last 2 weeks is that they can bleed. It's not impossible to get a map off them, but man, if you're trying to take a series off them, you got to up your level consistency to a level that we have not seen yet from any other teams in EU.
We almost saw 3 maps taken off Virtus.pro, Jake. Do you remember my dude from OG esports? Tanuki was bringing out Jeff the Landshark. He was eating people up, throwing them off the Yggdrasil. It was amazing content. Wasn't able to complete the dub against the opponents known as Virtus.pro, the juggernauts of the North Europe, I guess. We'll see what happens in the future. For now, no one has even come close. If you're trying to dissect this Virtus.pro performance, though, what's the most impressive part?
I think for me, it's especially their Vanguard flexibility. Like most teams have a clear Vanguard look that they want to be playing, that they're like committed to deploying. And I think VP just still haven't shown all their cards. Like the Thing looks amazing, had to get respect banned out for the rest of the series after map 1. Luminosity felt the pressure on that. Then they're able to win with the Venom into Luminosity, who the Venom is their comfort zone. And VP is banning Groot now the last couple weeks, which is like they have been dominating, winning constantly with Groot, and now they're banning it. So this is just like one of those teams where, yes, we're going to see some big changes in the meta coming up with season 2, but I'm just excited to see what a VP show us, because I'm not worried at all for their competitive strength. I still think they're going to be the best team in the EU.
Absolutely. ZP, the chat is asking you to animate that thing behind you. I don't know what they're talking about, but as we take a look, a 3-1 from Virtus.pro earns them another $1,000. That is going to be $5K that they have won here from Rivals Fight Night. Big shout out to all of the community members that have been in the chat, and a shout out to this guy. Let's hop in with our MVPs when it's ready. We've been battling in the chat. Should it be Nevix for his performance early in the matchup? Was it Finzi, the closer on the Magneto recently? Or was it Fi? Because normally we're always watching Sparker screen. Fi's just the support DPS. Tonight, ZP, he was one of the most entertaining duelists in the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, the duelist play was exceptional. And the reality is that a team like VP, you don't put up the performances you're putting up unless every single part of your team is operating at max level. But you know, to give a shout here to Finzi, who is going to be our match MVP. I'm just curious what this Vanguard lineup bucket is going to look like next week when we get our first look at competitive play in the new patch, because, you know, you talk about a team that's flexible. You flexible enough to bring Emma Frost into your lineup? I feel like the answer is going to be yes.
Scarlet Witch, Emma Frost, they're all coming your way in a few hours. Season 2 about to kick off, but we closed out Season 1 with the same champ from the first day, Virtus.pro, coming out, and it's this man, Finzi, the King of Iceland, showcasing some of the biggest slam dunks of the night, Jake.
I mean, we give a lot of love to duelists in Marvel Rivals because you get all the resources, you get enabled to carry, but I feel like there were so many moments in this game where Finzi takes a difficult or a losing situation and just turns it around, says, refuse to lose, I'm gonna commit, I'm gonna clutch, and he finds the connection with those meteor amps, he finds the mag cannon pickoffs, so many times the opening kill. Like, you're never gonna be at the level of final blows as like a Winter Soldier. It's just not realistically possible on Magneto. But I think Finzi's mastery of the Magneto, both being able to bubble his allies, protect them, you know, deal with things like the Wolverine when they're pressuring his front line, and then bring huge damage of his own accord, makes him the MVP this match.
Guys, do you know what's really awesome? It's when the players react in the chat. Finzi surprised himself to see that he is the MVP. The highlights are rolling right now. Amazing stuff tonight, Finzi. I think the real reason that we crowned you MVP, the first player in Rivals Fight Night history to type mid-game.
Mid-game typing in the Twitch chats, it does score you extra MVP points.
Grand final, mid-game grand final of your region. Well done. That is Finzi. That is our MVP, and that is going to be Europe in the books. ZP, a lot of fun matches, though. Royal Beamers really putting Luminosity to the test. They started up 2-0 in those domination games before Luminosity figured things out. They continue to be the team to test VP, but maybe the competition's getting closer than we thought.
I think competition is getting closer. I think the fact that you have teams that are either from completely unsigned or from newer orgs that are being really competitive is a great sign for the scene. It shows that you got new players rising on up. You know, looking forward to NA. A lot of teams highly recommended Boom Crew. There's like, no, you got to get them in here for Fight Night. They've been getting better and better. And yeah, they might have had a rough run in the upper bracket, running in the 100 Thieves in the MRC, but I'm excited to see what they have to show here today against, you know, an older team we've had in Rivals Fight Night like Shikigami. I feel like the rest of the day still very exciting.
Big shout out to Boba24 for the prime sub in Finzi. The champion, after banking $1,000, gives a little bit back once again. Another 5 gifted. We are 5 away from our sub goal. We are 200 away from our Twitch followers goals. If you are tuning in for the first time, there's only one rule here on Rivals Fight Night, and that's to tell your friends. We're going to a break. When we come back, we're switching things up to North America. Stay tuned for the Boom Crew versus Shikigami. Shikigami.